All right, so to begin our project, the first thing we need to do is create our still life. A still life is a setup that the artist creates in order to draw from observation. That means I'm going to be looking at it in real life. I'm not looking at a photo of it, I'm actually looking at the objects. So we want to make sure that they stay still and they aren't moving around on us. So I don't want to have something that is going to get loose or knocked loose. In the goal of this, you have been required to create one thing that is a scrap of paper with your initials. All the other items that you choose are completely up to you, but they should say something about you as a person, your interests, your hobbies, or things that you just enjoy having in your life. So we're going to look at some of the items that I picked to represent myself, and I'm going to have to try and narrow them down. I'm starting with probably about 8 objects. I'm going to work to try and kind of condense those, or maybe I picked a few extras so I have options when I create my board so I know exactly what I want it to look like. I have a way to choose my composition to make it more interesting, whereas if I started with only a couple objects, I might realize I don't like them. The first thing that you need to know is that your board that you're starting with is really, really solid. This is a cardboard or a mat board that I've given you because I don't want it to be something that is going to bend on you. If it were to be a piece of paper, this isn't great for putting objects on and being able to move them around or keep them in a safe place. So this is going to be great. What I have is an 8x8 square and it is white. I'm going to now start looking at my objects that I picked out. So some things about me is that I have a very large collection of Pez in my classroom, and I really enjoy Pez, but my kids are obsessed with Pokemon, so this is kind of a dual object. This is an enameled pin. My husband and I collect pins for just different things that we've been doing in life, like Disney pin trading is one of the events. But we go to a board game convention every year, and it's called Gen Con. So this pin represents kind of our collection, but also our board game love. I also have some board game meeples from a game that we have here at our house called Draftosaurus. They have these fun little dinosaur meeples, and I think they're really interesting. So I'm going to pick this guy because when I was a kid, that was always my favorite dinosaur. I have a paintbrush because I'm an artist and an art teacher. I have a Nintendo Joy-Con because we play a lot of Nintendo Switch around our house. This is actually part of a broken necklace that my mom made me using a bunch of colored pencils that were scraps from my classroom when I used to teach in one of the junior highs. And then I have my scraps of paper with my initials on them. I decided to use a Post-it note because I knew that it wouldn't move around on me. I actually tried 3 different ways of doing my initials just to see which font or writing style I liked the most, and I have decided that I'm going to go with this one. I also have as an option this just fun necklace. I thought the size of the chain and the beads, and then this is also still technically my initial. I really like just this is fun and funky, and it gives me a lot of options if I want something to go a long way across the actual paper. However, I'm thinking that this is probably my least favorite of the objects, so I'm going to wait and see if I actually need that one. So to start off, I'm just going to take a couple of these objects and I'm going to start placing them on my board and see what I find interesting. What do I like as far as placement of objects? I may end up changing the placement of objects. I may move them multiple times. I may just kind of play around with it until I get to something that I like or that I think is going to work really well for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now, and you might see me speed up the video a little bit as I try to figure out my composition. So now I've created a composition that I feel like I like. I maybe want to tweak it just a little bit. I don't like that these are kind of like touching. Maybe I just want to move that there a little bit. Maybe this guy moves down just a smidge. There we go. All right. A couple other things that I was paying attention to were like shadows. I think this creates a really cool and interesting shadow here, so I definitely want to keep that. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure I am going to secure these onto my mat board or my cardboard, whichever one you have, and I am going to secure them down so they don't move on me. So you've got options. You can glue them, you can hot glue them, you could tape them, you can pin them, but ultimately you need to decide what's best for you. I don't want to ruin something. My Joy-Con, that's not cheap. I'm not going to ruin it. So what I instead might do is I might take my masking tape and I might tape it down. Or if I can, what I might consider doing is creating a roll of tape and hiding it underneath where it won't be seen so that it doesn't move on me. So I might even try tape rolls. I might try just taping an object down and letting the tape be part of the composition. Put it in the wrong spot a little bit. So how you do this is completely up to you. Now my initials are on a Post-it, so I don't have to do anything with those. With the strap of the Joy-Con, I actually might want to use like a pin and pin it into place like this. So now it shouldn't move on me. So you could use safety pin, these are sewing pins, tape. This, being an enameled pin, is a push pin. I can actually push it down into it. And now I got to figure out my Pez guy. I don't want him broken either, so I might do some more rolls of tape that are hidden. And then once I'm done, this will be secured, and when I move it, nothing's going to be moving around on me, and it's going to be staying in the same place. That way when I draw it, nothing moves around if I have to leave it and come back to it during different periods of time.